As much as I was looking forward to it, I don't have much to say about Certified Lover Boy. I know that it was teased for a very long time before its release, and it was fun to see the reactions to the title and the cover and the haircut, but speaking completely subjectively, the album itself really didn't hold up. I liked more songs than I didn't, but they don't really come together all like that. And aside from today's subject, the intro, you could listen to them in any order. The only way to properly listen to this album is to listen to Champagne Poetry first. Without a doubt, the star of the show, this song captivates the moment you hear it. I've been listening to Drake since 2009. I am by no means a super fan or even a big fan, but similar to Disney and the MCU, Drake is too big to ignore, has been consistent for an entire decade, and more than a few times has put out a product that is undeniable. A song or movie that you just can't hate on, or at least is very hard to. Success at its highest level for such a long time rarely doesn't breed greatness, and Champagne Poetry is a perfect representation of that. I remember pressing play and immediately thinking, of course Drake would have a song that sounds this good. For starters, Drake is in the zone here. A lot of quotables and one-liners while offering some pretty candid takes about his life, in a few ways saying that the beginning of CLB is the beginning of a new chapter for him. This moment in his life can be viewed as a time to focus on other aspects of himself, a time of closeness with those around him, and at the end of it all, a celebration. My favorite line is Drake basically saying that if wealth is what matters, then his life is complete. All of that aside though, the sampling that was done on this song is what makes it so beautiful.
Until I love you, I love you, until I find the way, the only words I know that
From here, the mood is set immediately. It feels vintage, it feels close, it feels cinematic. I heard it and thought retro. I thought of BioShock, Wonder City, Fallout, and no way thinking that I've heard the sample before in those games. That's just what came to mind. And I am into anything that gives off that vibe. After a while spent just listening to this part of the song, it would only be a matter of time until I would start to wonder where the sample is from, with our first answer being Navajo by Masego.
In the street with a wedding ring, and she hit the box, city babe, are you down to cheat? He looked in the eye, chivalry, is he really dead? He pulled out a tip, jumping right.
Masego is behind a lot of my favorite songs in one way or another. That's not the same as being a fan, but I've been listening to him for long enough at this point. He actually performed this song on The Color Show in an episode that I never got around to watching. Press play on Navajo and you'll encounter the sample in the very same way that you do in Champagne Poetry, while of course not being the exact same beat. This was good to hear just because, and I wound up really liking Navajo, but I still needed the original. However the sample sounded before it got to Masego is how I needed to hear it. I googled Navajo Masego sample, followed the trail, and found a cover of a Beatles song called Michelle by the Singers Unlimited, a 4-part jazz vocal group apparently best known for their a cappella. The site that I found this on allows you to jump straight to the section that was sampled, and I don't really know how to describe what it was like to listen to this for the first time.
I love you, I love you, I love you. That's all I want to say. Until I find a way, I will say the only words I know that you'll understand.
sont les mots qui vont très bien ensemble, très bien ensemble.
I need you, I need you, I need you.
I need to make you see
What you mean to me.
until I do. I'm hoping you will know what I mean.
Immediately, my my feelings were confirmed, and I had finally discovered the heart of all that drama and intimacy that I felt at the beginning of Champagne Poetry. The emotion of Michelle is only hinted at as a sample. This is part of the appeal, of course. Getting a condensed form of such intensity can feel like a rush, even if you don't get the depth. That rush feeling that I'm talking about is felt at its best during the transition from the interlude to the second half of the song. Seamlessly, the sample of Michelle is blended and replaced with a gospel song by the Gabriel Hardeman delegation titled "Until I Found the Lord, My Soul Couldn't Rest."
Need you, I need you, I need you. I need to make you see what you mean to me. Until I do, I'm hoping you will know what I mean. I need to make you
Yeah. Heavy day. Yeah.
A few times now, I've been seeing some clips on Twitter breaking down the origin of some iconic samples from popular songs like Pound Cake or Power Trip. The videos get a lot of attention, with most people commenting on the talent of the producers behind the scenes. The samples of Champagne Poetry make me want to do the same thing. I am not as educated on the production side of music as I should be, but everyone involved in the decision making and the producers with the skills to make these things happen deserve all the credit in the world. This transition is my favorite part of the song, and it wasn't until I listened to Navajo a few more times that I realized that this section is original to Champagne Poetry. Navajo makes it over to Champagne Poetry almost completely intact, but this addition is new here, and at the end of it all, that is what gets me. There's just so much history and artistry wrapped in this one song. Masego struck gold in adapting something as beautiful and as special as Michelle to his own work. Drake and his team clearly resonated with that and chose not only to add their own spin on it, but to further unravel its potential with Until I Found the Lord. I think it's really special that the phrase "until I" is present in both songs. Crudely, in my mind, I hear, "I love you until I found the Lord." That's not perfect, and it's just my own little way of thinking about it, but even being able to think about it in that brings me joy. However I feel about an album, be it CLB or any other, as long as I can get at least one song to add to my personal rotation, it's a win. I managed to get more than a few from this one despite my feelings on it as a project, and even if I didn't, Champagne Poetry eventually leading me to Michelle makes it all worth it.
I'm telling you, no, I do.